Hello everybody, I am the Mighty Plantain, and tonight we're looking at something from Maine Beer Company. This is Zoe, our happy hoppy amber ale. It says here, do what's right, smile. Maine Beer Company, got a lot of really good beers. It says here, thank you for drinking our beer. On a rainy fall day in 2009, my 5-year-old daughter Zoe and I were wandering the streets in Bar Harbor and stumbled across the Whale Museum. Zoe loved it. It put a smile on her face. Hopefully our ale will do the same for you. Cheers. So not a whole lot of info on what's in the beer. Nice little story behind it, which is typical of local Maine beers. Love that aspect. But, naming a beer after your kid, that's noble. That's noble. I like the fact that there's a little story behind it. But it doesn't tell me a lot about what's in the beer. I would have liked to have seen at least an ingredient list on the label, but hey. The story is better than the ingredient list. Tells me you got a reason for making it. Oh crap, this is an effervescent beer. Look at the head on that. And I don't think I was pouring it. I didn't see a lot of glug 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 going on in the bottle. So, very effervescent. Be careful when pouring it out because you could wind up with an overflow. The head on this beer is impressive. It's a very dark, slightly cloudy beer. You see me wiping the sides of the glass. That's to get the condensation off of it so that I can really get an idea of how cloudy it is minus the condensation. But that is a cloudy brown beer. Bit of a reddish tinge to it maybe. But again, very, very effervescent. That head is taking forever to dissipate. And yeah, it's not entirely my fault. I did have a fast, heavy pour on that, which did make it foam up pretty good, but it's not fading very fast, which tells me that's more a characteristic of the beer than my failure to pour it more smoothly. That's the end of the bottle, and as I'm pouring it out, that last little the dregs in the bottle were more cloudy than what I poured out before, which tells me there's some sediment in there. Might not be a bad idea to roll the bottle gently on its side before pouring it out. Very gently, because it's obviously very effervescent, but it's even more cloudy after doing that, which tells me that the last bit in the bottle does have a bit of sediment to it. So, enough talk about the appearance and how to pour it, but fair warning, you don't want to overflow it, and you want a big glass. Ooh, that is a hoppy beer. I'm getting heavily pine notes. And I seem to be keyed towards pine because that's always what I pick up on first from hoppy beers. Heavily pine, citrus. But there's also like a savory note. Like under the pine and citrus, there's almost like a peppery bacon, peppery pork, roasted pork smell. No mention of that on the label, and it's something that I'm not used to picking up on in the aroma, but honestly, there's pine and citrus, but then there is this peppered pork, like a pepper bacon aroma. It doesn't say anything about this being barrel aged or any kind of roasted notes to it, so I'm wondering where that peppered pork smell. It's like a peppered and cooked pork smell. And again, it's primarily pine and citrus, but then there's a very distinct undercut note of peppered pork that's been cooked. Hell, maybe I'm just crazy. Well, it's kind of given, but alright. So that's what I'm getting out of this beer. It's enough about that. Time to taste it. It's got a nice medium mouthfeel. I can tell by the way it clings to my palate and my tongue that it is definitely a beer that's got some sediment in it. Interesting. None of that peppered pork aroma that I was getting is translating into the taste. Up front, pine and earthy notes. Very, very earthy after the pine. It hits you with a lot of pine in the face and then follows up with earthy notes. If you've ever camped out and you've laid your head down on the ground in a nice wide open clearing that's full of pine needles, freshly fallen pine needles, you get the aroma of the pine followed by the dirt underneath, the rich soil underneath. It's almost like a taste sensation reminiscent of those aromas. Followed up by maybe a little bit of smokiness from the malt backbone that solidifies this whole beer. I think I'm getting a little bit esoteric on this. I think that's the right term. But honestly, I've had a few beers ahead of time, and this one's just evoking certain memories and thoughts. But I'm thinking that's a pretty accurate representation of the taste, sensations, and the aroma in this beer. It's delicious, and it makes me think it is like a perfect camp out beer. I don't know if I could drink this all night long, but this would be if I was camping out in the woods in a tent close to the ground. I'm going to get that pine and earth. This is the the last beer I would have before turning in for the night. Oh, pardon. I don't know. Every beer I've had from Maine Beer Company just makes me have certain flashbacks to memories of my childhood and different experiences, which, hell, that says a lot for the beer company and the way they put things together. This is a solid 4 out of 5 for me. It's a great beer, but the stimulation of my memories based on the overall experience is what's really pushing it up for me. It's delicious and different, and I think I've said enough about it. I'm just rambling at this point, so let me know what you think. Hit me up down in the comments and the email link down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this beer. While you're down there, make sure to like and share the video, and definitely subscribe so you get a notification every time I post a new video. Till next time, folks, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.